What was your favorite thing that got shown yesterday for you guys? Like out of all that we saw?
Honestly,
Probably Sephiroth's hair
I
physics.
was just gonna
Oh,
say,
from Ever Crisis? I was talking
yeah,
about that for so long yesterday.
yeah. And you know what's crazy is, yeah, that moment I was editing my reaction, got the craziest reaction out of me. Like because remember, Nomura used my idea, man. He
Yeah.
used my Sephiroth
Yeah, see, I
idea.
wanted to talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. So
So
if
I
you
saw that and I was like, oh,
yeah,
I was
dude.
so
I
excited. The
remember
sword changing.
seeing that episode. I remember seeing that episode with you, Sleep Easy, Baby Seal, and Blitz. And I'm like,
Yeah, I
oh
was
man,
honestly.
I instantly thought of you. I was talking about yesterday to my
Oh,
chat. I was like, Philip did call this a long time ago, like 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
it's a long time because even that show I think was like me reiterating it. So when I first talked about it, who knows like how long ago it was.
Chat, if you guys are wondering what we were talking about Philip's Sephiroth, young Sephiroth story, in a live stream, he gave his theory on Sephiroth's backstory. And if he wants, he can share it now about his katana and where he the whole Troy thing that you talked about with Hector. And oh dude, it's so good. Go ahead and tell them because it's actually an amazing theory.
All right, I'll give the quickest version lowdown as I can. So this was my idea that I was essentially like begging them to put in, and it seems like they did. Essentially.
Yeah.
The big thing for me was always, why does Sephiroth have a katana? At first glance, like it's a Japanese game, cool. He's got a katana, it's cool stuff. Like no further explanation needed. But when you think about it, everybody in Shinra uses longswords, Western weapons, and rifles. So it's like, what is going on? All of Soldier uses longswords. Like, European long. So it's like, why does that guy have a katana? What's the only place on Earth of Gaia that has katanas is Wutai.
Yep.
So I'm always like, wow, is he from Wutai? Clearly not, if you look at his backstory. But it's like, my question is, how did he get the Masamune? So my mind, being a lover of Greek canon and Greek religion and mythology, is I'm thinking of like Trojan War version of the Wutai War, because we never see it. We hear about it. It's like, yeah, there's some skirmishes, there's some like espionage segments, but where was like the war? What was the battlefield looking like? So I'm like, man, what if Sephiroth got that weapon from like, if he's Achilles, like the Hector of Troy, like the Hector of Wutai, like his nemesis, right? Like the strongest warrior. And it's like, how does somebody become a war hero, the strongest hero on Earth? They have to defeat the strongest hero on Earth, right?
Yes.
So I'm like, what if his Hector, the Hector to his Achilles, had the Masamune, was the hero of Wutai, and he defeated him on the battlefield? It's like, he took him out. He's the strongest. Oh my god! And that would be like his Kleos, his moment of like glory and becoming the strongest. And there's this awesome relationship. We always hear that Sephiroth is lonely because he's so powerful. Makes me think again of Achilles. Something happens in the Iliad where Hector kills Patroclus, who was wearing Achilles' armor. It's a long story.
spoiler.
Yeah.
His like lover friend. So what happens is, when Hector faces Achilles, he typically put on the armor you won as a war prize, right? So he's wearing Achilles' armor. So there's this great moment where when Achilles kills Hector, he's literally fighting himself. Like he's fighting someone in his old armor, and he has new armor made for him by Hephaestus. And he destroys. So the image is literally him killing himself. And as he knows, if he kills Hector, he spirals his fate into death. Like he will die if he kills him, and then he can never go home. So it's this beautiful imagery where he hates Hector, he wants his revenge, but then he realizes later after he kills him, and he's got his rage out, it's like that was the closest thing he could ever have to someone who could relate to him, right? So imagine this moment for Sephiroth. If he was to do something similar, he defeats this person. It's like his calling, his glory, and then it's like, I'm completely alone. There's no one on Earth who can understand my power. I have this weird, Genova cell. He doesn't know that yet. And he's just all alone.
Yeah,
So
not
I think
even
it's
Genesis
such
or
a cool-
Angeal could like compete with him.
Yeah.
Honestly, we
Exactly,
saw
he
it when they 2v1'd him and in the cutscene.
He's playing with him, man. He plays with him, right?
Yep.
So it's like, what? That would be so cool if they took that sort of approach. And now I'm like, oh my god, they're doing it. He's got this thing.
You know
Because
what
it's like,
backs your theory even more is I'm not sure
What's
if it was
that?
in the Ever Crisis part of the
Yeah.
thing or if it was Crisis Core, whatever one. They showed us a town on fire. It wasn't Nibelheim, it was Wutai.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So
And he's in the fire in the short hair. It's like, man, and he had blood on his, because I was worried. They said there's gonna be a young Sephiroth episode. I was like, oh, is he gonna be like 5 years old? No, he's gonna be in the war. So I'm just like, yes.
And there's been rumors of Nojima, who also wrote Traces of Two Paths and On Our Way to a Smile. He's apparently
He's
also
writing
writing a story for a young Sephiroth from in First Soldier, which is, what is it, chat, 30 years or something before the events of
Yes.
FF7 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. You know, like
So I'm just like, oh man, maybe they listen.
that.
We'll see.
It's
We'll
not a
see,
rumor
man.
anymore. Seal, has it been confirmed?
I thought it was confirmed.
Oh,
I thought it was
wow.
confirmed that he
I'm-
was writing one for Ever
I'm
Crisis. I
excited
could be
about
wrong.
that. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been confirmed by Nomura. I must have missed that. Thank you for letting me know.
So excited.
It's
Yeah.
very exciting.
But that was my idea. So I'm like, I never thought it would happen at all. So I'm like super excited.
Yeah, when I watched that last night, I'm like, man, this Philip's gonna have a field day with this one.
Yeah, I was freaking out,
Yeah,
man.
he's rewinding. Oh my god, the sword chip.
Sword charge!
Would
But
you?
he's gonna get it somehow. Because the other thing I always say is that like the Masamune is clearly like maybe it seems to be like a magical relic of like he's cutting open dimensional pathways in Remake with the Masamune. So you have to ask yourselves, what is this magic system? Is it him who can do that? Is it his weapon? Nobody knows. So like I would love to see like some lore behind it. Why the hell is it so strong?
Yeah, and like people
why is it
ask
the
me
strongest
like,
weapon?
why is like people ask me all the time, why do you love Crisis Core so much? Because it shows a side of Sephiroth that you never get to see, and it like builds
Yes.
so much character for Sephiroth, and it actually makes you feel for him more as a villain, because he actually
agree.
goes through so much in Crisis Core. And then in seven, you just see him as this maniacal, crazy, psychotic person, right? But they actually
Yeah.
build so much to his character in Crisis Core. That's why I love it so much. But while we're on that topic, what would you guys think? What would you guys think if Genesis was back in Remake? I think now there's a possibility of him showing up.
What do you think, Leah? It's like yeah, you know, his Gok.
This gag.
Got the red hair. You know
Gak.
that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, she
mean,
has an
maybe-
experience to
She
gag.
hasn't
Yeah.
seen Crisis Core, so
Yeah.
she has, you know, a little bit less. But I think I think Genesis is sort of the classic example. Is a lot of people complain about him, but I think he's just very like he has a lot of potential. I really think he does.
I do
And a lot
too.
of people would yell at me for saying that, but like all I'm gonna say is look at Vice, look at Nero in Remake Intermission. Incredibly like not liked characters in Dirge of Cerberus who were depicted in just the level that they're writing Remake is so good that those characters not only were fit in perfectly, they didn't feel like some weird like cartoony version of FF7. They fit perfectly and it was good. So I'm like, oh dude, after I saw that, put in Genesis, put in whatever you want. Like it's gonna be great. I can't wait to see what they do with him.
I really can't.
And there's
wait
always
either.
been this mystery.
Yeah.
Like, what's he doing? What's his goal? You know, so
I think they could definitely write him a lot better too than they did in Dirge of Cerberus. Crisis Core.
yeah.
They could
Totally.
definitely flesh him out a lot more. I think I don't know what you guys think about the name that they gave Part 2, Rebirth, and it's all in red. That's what makes me feel like he maybe could be in.
Yeah.
Why else would they give that red glow, like exactly like the glow
Ooh.
Please,
of his
think about
coat
that.
and his sword?
You started on this because you were the first one to be like, why is it called Rebirth?
Yeah.
What do you
I
think?
mean, why is it called Rebirth? I think that's what everyone's wondering.
Yeah.